We are now less than 60 days out to the election, and Donald Trump is still against all odds. Just praying that Joe Biden is going to come back? Really? He posted this yesterday on True Social. Comrade Kamala Harris. By the way, I love that nobody else calls her that, but he's still doing it. It's like, it's not as clever as you think it is. But anyway, Comrade Kamala Harris goes to an ultra left-wing, Trump-hating spice shop, which I hear is terrible, overpriced product, and calls for unity. I'll return to the spice shop thing in a second. As people begin to realize that she is a Marxist, far more liberal than crazy Bernie Sanders, GT, and also FO, or even Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. He had gone this far into the message without some racism, but don't worry, he recovered. Her poll numbers are beginning to crash. Who are they gonna put in next? How about a Biden comeback? And that is just, like, look, it's deranged in an obvious way that you could already tell, but it's deranged in like 4 different ways. So there was this thing where she went to some store and the store doesn't like Trump. So he's heard they have bad spices. What is he on, like a chat room or a forum or something? Like he's at like spiceshoprumors.com. He doesn't know anything about the spice shop. Their spices are probably spices. I think turmeric is pretty much turmeric wherever you go. I think that's what it is. So the idea that like he just has to attack in every way, no matter how deranged it is. And then did you know, dear viewer, perhaps some of you might be progressives, you might be big old lefties. Did you know Kamala Harris more left than Bernie Sanders? I mean, I know that that's not true, that's ridiculous, but Trump's saying it. Absolutely insane. And then the meat of it is her poll numbers are beginning to crash. So that is not true. We're gonna talk later in the show about the polls, but they're basically in parity between each other. And so he needs to jump and say that she's doing badly. The issue with that attack from Donald Trump is I thought all the polls were fake. And not just fake as in unreliable, but specifically they are fake in that the media is just making them up to exaggerate how well Kamala Harris is doing. So they don't actually poll people, it's not actually people responding. They just say she's up by 8 or whatever. But so then why are her poll numbers beginning to crash? If the whole point of this is that the media is just making it up, why would they do that? None of this makes any sense, except insofar as that it's a window into Donald Trump's brain. So how about a Biden comeback? So obviously that's not gonna happen, it's insane, but he can't help it because on some level, he still wants that to happen. And by the way, when he says, how about a Biden comeback? That doesn't just say that he wishes that he was running against Joe Biden. That part's obvious, but it refutes the earlier part of the tweet. Her poll numbers are beginning to crash. Yeah, but are they? I mean, if she's doing so poorly now, why are you still fantasizing about a Joe Biden comeback? I mean, we know the point of Joe Biden coming back that you want is so that you can beat him because he'd be much easier to beat. But if her numbers are crashing, then what's the difference to you? You could be either one. Or is it that you don't actually believe that her numbers are crashing, that you don't actually believe that the polls are made up? You know that there is actually something to it and that it's gonna be a hard fought battle, which is why you're fantasizing about Joe Biden swooping in at the last minute. Anyway, he's been doing this, as I'm sure you know, from the very beginning. He had said before the DNC, I hear there's a big movement to bring back Crooked Joe. There was no movement, he wasn't hearing that. If there was a big movement to bring him back, why would they call it Bring Back Crooked Joe? It's their movement, they like him, they wouldn't call him crooked. How stupid. Anyway, and then also there was this whole paragraphs fantasizing about it. He hates them all, he hates them the most, and he wants it back now. There was no evidence of that. And he didn't come back. God damn, this guy lives in a freaking fantasy world, but he should. He is the leader of a cult that dwells in a self-sustaining, self-imagined fantasy world. I guess he also has to live very disconnected from reality. But anyway, as I said, the complaining has been constant. Here's just a little sampling.
He wanted to debate. If we didn't have a debate, he'd still be there. Can you imagine if we didn't have a debate? Why the hell did I debate him?
That was a coup. on an American president. And it was really a coup when you think about it.
This was really a coup of and by the Democrats.
She turned on him too. She was working with the people that wanted him out. But the fact that you can get no votes, lose in the primary system, in other words, you had 14 or 15 people, she was the first one out, and that you can then be picked to run for president, it seems to me actually unconstitutional. Perhaps it's not.
Thank you, Donald Trump, for adding in at the end, perhaps it's not unconstitutional for them to choose a candidate. Jesus. Again, look, there's no point in fact checking this stuff because he doesn't mean the claims that he's making, but she was on the ticket that people were voting for in the primary. Look, I have a lot of problems with the primary, but if anyone has a claim that the support for Joe Biden means something about support for them, it would be Kamala Harris. And more importantly, after she became the presumptive nominee, polls showed that the vast majority of Democrats were perfectly happy with the choice. That's why he's freaking out. He wouldn't be freaking out about this if Democrats were mad about the choice. If they were like, oh, I gotta vote for Harris now. I don't know, maybe I'll sit it out. He would be happy then. Again, the points he's making are proof of the opposite of what he wants you to believe in all cases. And let me waste 15 more seconds of your time. For any conservatives who are watching this, I know that the fact that Donald Trump just whines 24/7 doesn't bother you. And I'm not even gonna try anymore to convince you that it should. I would just love to know why it doesn't. Because I know that as you go through your day-to-day lives, when you come across people, maybe you know family members or people that you work with, or like your kids' friends that you don't really like, and they just whine and whine and whine and everything's unfair to them. You don't like that generally, right? You find that to reflect poorly on them, right? It's not a good personality characteristic. Why is it that when it comes to Donald Trump, you do like it? And more importantly, accepting as a given that you're gonna like it, why do you insist on pretending that this guy you like who whines constantly is strong or assertive or a good leader or masculine or whatever the things that you would apply to him when he has all of the, I'll stick with whiniest characteristics. There's other things I would like to say, but I don't want to get in trouble. Why is it that you insist on doing that? Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.